Senator Casey's here, still here, and Senator Toomey has left. Let me just say, a lot of people watching the news these days, they would think we don't agree on anything here in Washington, D.C. And I just want to tell you how refreshing it is to have heard about the partnership for the last dozen or so years that you and Pat have had. And really doing an important part of our job, and is recommending people to serve on the Judiciary. And I just say congratulations to all who've been nominated, and good luck. You've been supported here by a couple of good men. Thank you. That's not all I have to say, but that was my opening. That was my opening line. Today I have the honor and privilege of introducing the Honorable Tamika Montgomery-Reeves, President Biden's nominee to serve as a judge on the United States Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. But first, let me just say this. Delaware is in the house. I mean, like really in the house here today. And of course, my friend, wingman Senator Coons, with whom I work together on so many things, including the judicial nominations, is on the dais this morning as a key member of this esteemed committee. But joining Justice Montgomery-Reeves are about 200 of our closest family and friends, many of them by way of Delaware. That's about half the people in Delaware. So, well, not really. All kidding aside, Justice Montgomery-Reeves comes from a big family, and many of them are here today to show their support. I can't recognize every one of them. We would still be lunchtime if I did, but in my 3 minutes of allotted time, I do want to thank her parents, Mom for bringing in Tamika into the world, and she and her husband for raising just a terrific child and daughter. And I want to thank her husband, Jeffrey, and their two children, Jackson and Tyson, for letting their wife and their mom answer the call to serve the people of our state and God willing, the people of our country. I also want to recognize Chief Justice Seitz, Chancellor McCormick, former Chancellor Chandler, and other judicial officers from the first state who have traveled to be here with us today. And Delaware has a tight-knit legal community, and there's really no better example of the collegiality and friendship that exists on our state courts than some of the most respected judges in the country carpooling down or taking a train down the Northeast Corridor to support their former colleague. Mr. Chairman and colleagues, Senator Coons and I have often said that those of us here in the Senate could learn a thing or two from Delaware. And when it comes to nominating judges, Delaware's governor is tasked with filling vacancies on some of the nation's most highly regarded state courts, including the state Delaware Court of Chancery and the Delaware Supreme Court. The governor of Delaware oftentimes seeks out advice from a bipartisan judicial nominating commission, but it's also required to nominate judges from both political parties. I'll say that again. It's oftentimes required to nominate judges from both political parties to maintain a balance, overall balance across our judiciary. This rule, enshrined in our state's constitution, brings balance to our court system, and I believe it has served our state and our nation well for many years. I think it serves as a model for our country as well. Some 25 years ago, when I was privileged to serve as governor of Delaware, I had the opportunity to nominate a new chancellor, or what some would call a chief justice, to the Delaware Court of Chancery. I didn't nominate a Democrat. I did not nominate a Democrat. I nominated Bill Chandler, who was born in Sussex County in southern Delaware and previously worked for not one but two Republican governors, Pete DuPont and later Mike Castle. I'm told that Bill Chandler can trace his family ties to the Republican Party back several centuries. Now, I may have taken some heat politically for it at the time, but I knew that Bill was the most qualified and the best person for the job. It didn't matter what political party he was from. I knew he'd make one heck of a chancellor, and boy, did he. Now, why am I telling a story about Bill Chandler at the confirmation hearing for Justice Montgomery-Reeves? Well, here's why. A few years ago, Bill Chandler hired a young law student at the University of Chicago to become one of his clerks. Her name was Tamika Montgomery-Reeves. Mr. Chairman, colleagues, I'm a proud Delawarean, but I'm actually a native son of West Virginia. Justice Montgomery-Reeves is also a proud Delawarean, but like me, she made her way to Delaware from another place, in her case from Mississippi, fell in love with our state, and now calls it home. After clerking for Chancellor Chandler, Tamika graduated and began a career in private practice. She told me, in a meeting with her family today in my office, she said that she knew at the age of 3 what she wanted to be. And at the age of 3, a corporate attorney. Now that's pretty amazing. She became an expert in corporate law and complex business litigation. And after a brief stint in private practice in New York State, she was hired by another prominent law firm, Wilson Sonsini, that just so happened to be looking to open an office in Delaware. She quickly made partner and could have continued on a path as a lucrative legal career. But Justice Montgomery-Reeves felt called to serve. And in 2015, when a vacancy occurred on the Court of Chancery, our governor then, Jack Markell, nominated her to that spot on the bench. She was confirmed unanimously by the Delaware State Senate. 4 years later, in 2019, Governor Carney, John Carney, who many of us know from his service here as our congressman for a number of years, but Governor Carney nominated her to serve on the Delaware Supreme Court. Once again, she was confirmed unanimously by the Delaware State Senate. By the way, colleagues, the Delaware State Senate leadership, Democrats and Republicans, have sent a letter in support of Justice Montgomery-Reeves' confirmation to the Third Circuit. So having said that, Justice Montgomery-Reeves is also a trailblazer, becoming the first African-American to serve on both the Court of Chancery and our state Supreme Court. She has been nominated to these positions because her credentials and her intellect are top-notch. So is her heart. So, Mr. Chairman, colleagues, I know these hearings sometimes get intense. Folks try to score, in some cases, not always, some political points, but I would just say you're about to meet one of the, not just brightest women from Delaware, but one of the kindest. And from, maybe even from Mississippi for that matter. If confirmed, Justice Montgomery-Reeves will bring a spirit of collegiality and consensus to the Third Circuit. You never have too much of that. The spirit of our nation needs restoring at this moment, and she can help with that. So at a time when many Americans are losing faith in some of our institutions, including the federal judiciary, I believe it's more important than ever that we nominate and confirm individuals of the highest caliber to our federal courts. Justice Montgomery-Reeves is of that highest caliber. She has my strongest possible endorsement. I urge this committee to support her nomination. And I thank you, Mr. Chairman, colleagues, especially Senator Coons, for allowing me to be his partner through this process. That's all I've got.
Thank you very much.